Every morning, millions of people wake up feeling the immediate dread that accompanies the alarm clock. They rush out the door to jobs they don't love, and they constantly rationalize the pain by telling themselves the same necessary lie: it's just temporary. But the calendar pages keep turning, the months blur together in an endless stream of routine, and years pass. The individual is still there, trapped in the same punishing cycle. Work, pay bills, repeat. This is not just a frustrating job. This is the modern rat race, a pervasive system designed with one cynical purpose: to keep you busy enough to survive, but too tired, too drained, and too intimidated to ever truly escape. Listen closely. There is a calculated and achievable way out of this trap. This path is not dependent on luck. It does not require selling everything you own or quitting your job overnight in a dramatic, irresponsible moment of impulse. The exit is achieved through strategy, unwavering discipline, and a fundamental shift in how time and attention are valued. This video is not selling a pipe dream or a get-rich-quick scheme. This is a comprehensive guide. This video will show you the exact 5-step blueprint required to execute a calculated extraction from the 9-to-5 trap. This strategy allows you to escape without risking stability or burning everything down. The process is conceptually simple, but the commitment to execution is absolute. Don't skip a single step in this video. Each one is crucial to your escape, and missing even one could keep you trapped forever. At the end, we discuss the 4 psychological traps that keep you stuck. Watch every moment. But before we dive into the steps, you need to understand the true nature of the trap you're in. Because most people are fighting the wrong enemy. The rat race is not defined merely by the hours of a job. It is a mindset. It is the constant, destructive exchange of a finite resource, your time, for a finite payment. You are selling a limited commodity, your irreplaceable time, for a transaction with zero inherent scalable upside. This is the system's cruelest design feature: earning just enough money to remain comfortable and compliant, but never enough to genuinely create freedom. Let's talk about the illusion of the raise. The phenomenon of lifestyle creep is the silent killer of financial freedom. Individuals work harder, they secure a modest raise, and their expenses immediately expand to meet the new income level. This is the spiral effect. You upgrade the phone, move to the better apartment, finance a new car, and suddenly, you're right back where you started. Broke, but now operating at a higher income level. The fundamental problem, being dependent on a single income source, has not been solved. This system is engineered to reward consumption, not creation. The longer an individual runs in it, the harder it becomes to summon the energy and resources required to step off the wheel. The chains holding people are not just financial. They are profoundly emotional and psychological. There is an emotional cost of control. Escaping is not merely about accumulating wealth. It is about reclaiming control and autonomy. When trapped in this cycle, the company or client owns your most valuable resources: your time, your energy, and your most focused attention. You are trading the best hours of your life for a paycheck that barely keeps you ahead of mounting bills. The real cost of the 9-to-5 is a severe soul tax. You continuously sacrifice time with family and friends. You postpone your deepest dreams because the sheer stress and exhaustion leaves you perpetually too tired or too busy to work on your own future. And the scariest truth that must be confronted: every day dedicated to the job, you are building your entire life around an entity that statistically would replace you in a single week if you were suddenly gone. Financial freedom is not measured by the size of a mansion or a bank account. It is measured by the complete ownership of your time and your life's narrative. Now that you see the trap for what it is, the question is, how do you break out? You do not need to quit your job tomorrow. That is recklessness. You need a detailed, phased plan. And that plan starts not with a giant leap, but with a single, powerful number. Let's break down the 5 non-negotiable steps to execute the extraction. Step 1 is to redefine your endgame. Most people's goal is vague. I just want to make more money. That is a wish, a hope without a trajectory. A goal, by definition, must be defined, measurable, and actionable. You must define what genuine freedom means to you. For that, We can use the freedom number formula. This is the core tactical calculation. First, identify your actual current monthly living expenses: rent, utilities, food, insurance. Second, add a 20% buffer. This buffer accounts for taxes, irregular costs like annual insurance or holidays, and a safety margin. That calculated total, for instance, $5,500 per month, is your initial target. This number is your freedom number. The objective is not instantaneous richness. The objective is optionality. Define whether freedom means achieving $5,000 in passive revenue or simply having the ability to say no to an opportunity that conflicts with your values. Define your goal by the freedom it buys, not the dollar amount. Write that number down. Name it. Post it where you see it every single day. This daily reminder is a constant rehook that reinforces your purpose, because what can be clearly defined can be systematically built. Okay, you have your target, but a sniper is useless without a stable platform to shoot from. That's what step 2 is. It's the unsexy, absolutely critical foundation that 99% of people skip because they're in a hurry. Don't be one of them. Step 2 is building the escape fund. Before the launch of your business, you need an airtight defense system, your financial runway. This requires performing a ruthless audit of expenses and stacking enough cash to cover at least 6 months of living costs. This is a critical psychological buffer against failure. Conduct a meticulous month-long expense audit. Track every dollar. Identify recurring subscriptions that provide no value. Cut unnecessary consumption immediately. The money you save is not simply less spent. It is fuel for your future freedom. It is capital you did not have to earn twice. The moment you establish this 6-month cushion, the power dynamic in your life shifts entirely. You gain the luxury of taking calculated, strategic risks without the paralyzing fear of failure. Fear of homelessness or insolvency is the biggest killer of entrepreneurship. The runway mitigates this risk. When your savings are secured, you gain the ability to invest responsibly in your side project, pay for necessary coaching, or even transition to a lower-paying job that affords you more time to build your asset. Your escape fund buys you the freedom to think and act strategically, ensuring decisions are based on opportunity, not panic. You have a target. You have a foundation. This is where we separate the dreamers from the doers. Because step 3 is the most critical and painful step. It requires a sacrifice of time and comfort that most people aren't willing to make, but it is the only way to generate the compounding momentum required for true escape. This is the filter. Step 3 is to monetize the after-hours. This is the hardest and most non-negotiable truth of the entire blueprint. Your 9-to-5 job pays your bills. Your evenings, however, are what buys your freedom. The minute that 5 p.m. clock rings, you face a profound, life-altering choice: comfort or compounding. Most people default to comfort. They finish their shift and immediately shut their brain off. They trade their valuable evening hours for low-value entertainment, endless social media scrolling, binge-watching TV, or just passively consuming content. This is why 90% of people stay trapped. They are actively reinforcing their own cage by using their remaining energy to build nothing of scalable value. The successful ones treat those hours between 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. like a second shift. They recognize that their post-work time is their most valuable, unleveraged resource for building equity in their own lives. You do not need 10 hours a day, just 2 focused, undistracted hours every single evening. That commitment amounts to 10 hours a week. Over a single year, that is 520 hours dedicated to your future, not your boss's. This 520-hour investment is virtually guaranteed to generate a scalable business asset. To succeed here, you must be comfortable prioritizing creation over consumption. You have to minimize social activities and entertainment. This is the non-negotiable sacrifice. These are the hours where you build the asset that replaces the job. Use this focused time to learn high-value, marketable skills. Do not just watch tutorials, execute the lessons. Focus on skills that have a high return on investment and compound over time. Here are a few examples. 1. Copywriting. This is the ability to write words that sell. This is the foundation of all online income. 2. Automation and system design. This is the ability to build processes that work without your constant presence. 3. High retention content creation. This is the ability to build an audience by creating compelling videos. Commit to building skill capital for 90 days. After 3 months of consistent application, you will possess a skill valuable enough to begin generating income outside of your employment. Why? Because money follows demonstrated skills, not just good intentions. So you've put in the grueling work of the second shift. You have a valuable skill. Now comes the moment of truth, turning that skill into cash flow. But here's where another trap awaits, the trap of distraction. You might be wondering, which path do I choose? Services, products, content? I'm going to simplify it for you right now in step number 4. Step 4 is building one scalable side income. Once a high-value skill is developed during the second shift, it is time to earn outside the job. This is the moment where theory becomes reality. There are 3 primary scalable paths. Pick one. Do not juggle 5 simultaneous ventures. The primary killer of all great dreams is distraction and lack of focused commitment. Number 1 is service-based. It includes freelancing, consulting, offering digital services. The advantages of this path is that it's the quickest to initial cash flow. However, it's not truly scalable. Number 2 is product-based. This includes digital products like courses, templates, ebooks. The advantage of this path is that it's highly scalable. The disadvantage, slow to build initial traction. Number 3 is content-based. This includes building an audience on platforms like YouTube. The advantage of this path is that it builds a valuable long-term asset. However, this is also the slowest path to reliable initial income. Master one income stream until it consistently covers your defined bills. Then and only then, safely expand to a second. You don't need 1 million followers. You need focused value for a small, targeted audience who is willing to pay to solve their problems. This is the moment of maximum danger. You started making real money on the side. The excitement is intoxicating. And this is where 90% of entrepreneurs make the single biggest mistake of their lives. A mistake that can send them right back to square one, worse off than when they started. Step 5 is to transition strategically. This is the failure point for 90% of entrepreneurs. They quit their 9-to-5 prematurely. They make $500 online, are thrilled by the potential, and hand in their resignation. That is not strategy. That is dangerous impulse. The smart, calculated move is to wait until your side income covers at least 70% of your current living expenses for 3 consistent months. This is the empirical threshold for stability. Only then do you consider reducing your hours or leaving your job entirely. You are not escaping out of desperation or panic. You are upgrading your life from a position of financial power and confidence. You now have the entire tactical blueprint. But even with this perfect plan, there are invisible forces working against you. Even with all the right steps, the following 4 psychological traps sabotage more people than any financial hurdle ever could. The first trap is chasing every opportunity. Focus is the biggest multiplier of wealth and effort. Jumping between crypto, dropshipping, affiliate marketing, and trading will only keep you broke and burned out. Discipline over desire. The second trap is relying on motivation. Motivation is fleeting and unreliable. You don't need motivation, you need automated systems. Design habits that make progress automatic, even on days when you are uninspired. The third trap is expecting overnight success. Freedom compounds slowly and non-linearly. You plant seeds today that may not bear fruit for months, sometimes years. But the pattern is absolute. Those who stay consistent always win. The fourth and last trap is neglecting your health. If you burn out and destroy your body building your escape, you have only constructed another prison. Sleep, exercise, and recovery are not luxuries. They are assets that fuel your performance. Here is the final mindset shift that unlocks the rest of the plan. You don't escape the rat race by rejecting work. You escape it by redefining what work means. The ultimate goal is not to do nothing. It is to do meaningful work, work that compounds your effort and energy. Employees trade time for money. Builders trade ideas for assets. When you start thinking like an owner of your time, your skills, your attention, everything changes. You stop asking, how can I make more money? You start asking, how can my time create money for me? That is the real mindset of freedom. You never needed to quit your job overnight. You just needed this plan. Look at you now. You're no longer the person who just feels trapped. You are the person with the blueprint. You are the architect of your own escape. This is your moment of truth. This is the line in the sand. On one side is the comfortable, familiar cage. On the other side is your freedom, your autonomy, the ownership of your own life. The system is counting on you to do nothing. It's counting on you to get motivated for a day and then go back to scrolling. It's counting on you to choose comfort over compounding. Prove it wrong. Your future is not built in a dramatic, single moment. It is built in the silent, determined hours between 6 and 10 p.m. It is built by the person who chooses to build their own empire after a long day of building someone else's. The plan is simple. The execution is everything. This is your fight. Now go win it. If this blueprint unlocked something in you, hit that like button and subscribe. Your journey is just beginning. Now get to work. Your freedom is on the other side of your discipline. I believe you can do this.